today is called The Wild Rose Suite. It's dedicated to my grandmother, who was a pioneer, came out from England in 1905, and her father built the house for her and her 5 siblings in Lynn Valley. And this starts out with the first part of the poem is divided into 3 sections. And this is in memory of Mary Greener Thompson, and it's called Andante. And they came. They were Cumberland lasses, broad-cheeked beauties, plucked from a farmer's life by the ghost of a father who wrote for 5 years of trees so miraculous 20 men couldn't encircle their Herculean girth. He told of rivers and oceans that shrugged off the settlers, swallowed them whole. If they were reckless and fast and stir-crazy because of the rain, Mary and Annie and Ethel finally had word to pack up their lives, leave the liquid mirrors of light behind, to travel by steamer to Halifax in the fall, then take the railway all the way west to the green Pacific Ocean. The packed ferry glided into the harbor, a hand to glove. Mountains reached down to touch them, with their clouds swirling about like a bridal veil. The bite of the wind picked up their hair and unknotted the braids they had carefully coiled round the back of their pale necks. They stood expectantly on the landing, explorers in this strange and powerful land, waiting for the man called Father to show them the way. He stood with 6 pairs of strong boots and a smile breaking like sun across his deeply tanned face. Up the timber flume they hiked, pulling their dresses from the dark, sucking mud that splattered and stuck to their legs and their feet, past dray horses and folks struggling to harness their impatient green energy for one last surge to the top. The small cases bumped against their damp knees. They let go of old country ways, of manners and propriety, wondered aloud about the bustle and clamor pushing them forward under the curious skies inspecting white stare. They were solemn, confused, when Father told them to rest right here and not to look. Then he spun his wife of 20 years round and whispered. She looked like the wild roses framing their new front porch. He opened his fist to show the deep pink of the flower before he tucked it into her shining cap of copper hair. Part 2. This is when my grandmother Mary moved to Blue River in the Rockies. When she moved there was a population of 150, so she was a real pioneer in a log cabin. Allegro, wild berry. Mary once followed bear scat to find the low bush blueberries hidden high above the wide emerald mouth of the North Thompson River. She was still and unguarded, and let the swarm of black flies crawl in her ears, down the back of her neck. She knelt beside the fruit and imagined a life in the city where no one would care about the wild berries she had dropped like old coins into the empty tin pail. Summer nights in Vancouver, she'd stroll with her sisters down Granville Street, where she let her cigarette burn down to ash in the corner of her mouth. It was the ways of the bad girls who painted their faces and tinted their finger-waved hair that she memorized. She wanted to sing love songs to strangers who'd mistake her voice for the river and her small courage for faith in the grace of church basement bingo and the transparent baked table fruit jelly plucked from the bushes like beads. The dragonfly hovered and settled onto her raven-haired beauty. It flickered, iridescent, blue and green wings, a peacock's eye of color and light. She liked to pick in the shiver of morning where the black-rooted cliffs shifted from shadow to blue. The berries rolled into the bucket, purple mementos to be pressed against tongue, against teeth, in the heavy white winter when color is the only thing we want to believe. The third section, Largo, Song for Mary. My grandmother lived in a place so exotic. You could only speak to her in the company of cacophonous strangers on the operator-assisted party line to Blue River. She was nestled deep in lodgepole pines that fringed the hard-backed echo of Eleanor Lake. She'd welcome us in summer, wait like a big-breasted hen in her best frock on the small, dusty railroad platform. Grandpa drove like crazy to their backwoods cabin in the fly-splattered pickup, kids shrieking at each bump or twist on the rutted road. We rolled like marbles in the open truck bed. She'd proudly point out her garden, so patiently hand-watered and weeded in the eternal, blazing days of my youth. The laundry snapped on the line, and I helped her to trap it in rough wicker baskets before the fireworks of thunder pelted snowballs of hail onto the long johns and corsets and many patched overalls. She'd make us Kool-Aid in the dim green kitchen and chocolate cookies with marshmallows, using only a wood stove and a steel gray icebox. She was the keeper of family, could sing, dance, paint, grow, embroider, preserve, fish, and write. One glorious day, she wrapped her tinted hair in a lemon scarf, and we grimaced our way through the storm of mosquitoes to the deep cobalt confluence of the Thompson and Blue. It was there we clenched emerald tree frogs, the size of your thumb in the rain. Nana's memory swells inside my own voice now. Her small flick of impatience and fools I too wear, like the faint whiff of her fine French perfume. Thank you.